Gold is at a critical decision point this week. Wave 4 is playing out exactly as expected. And once it completes, the next major move begins. I'll show you exactly what I'm watching, where the levels are, and what needs to happen for the next trade. Plus 4 other pairs with live setups, all based on Elliott Wave counts. This is the WaveMaster weekly outlook. Every weekend I break down the market structure using Elliott Wave Theory, the same framework I use on my funded FTMO accounts. If you want to follow along properly, we will launch WaveMaster tomorrow, a platform where I post these outlooks daily, share live trade setups, and where you can learn the entire Elliott Wave framework through over 60 interactive exercises. Link is in the description. Let's start with EURUSD. On the 3-day chart, we have completed a major ABC correction. Wave A and C both subdivided into 5 waves. Wave B into a corrective 3. Importantly, wave 4 of the wave C wave formed a contracting triangle, the most common triangle pattern in Elliott Wave. Dropping to the 8-hour chart, after the completion of wave C, we saw a first impulse down, followed by a corrective structure upward. Our primary expectation is bearish. We are looking for another impulse to the downside. We have already seen the first 1-2 structure in orange. The alternate scenario in white shows a possible 1, 2, 3, 4 structure of an upward impulse already in place. On the 1-hour chart, our invalidation for the primary bearish scenario is clear. If price goes above 1.18488, the bearish case is off the table. Below that level, we stay bearish and look for the next leg down to cut through the territory of wave A. Last week's trade is no longer active. We get stopped out at break even. So let's move on with GBPUSD. On the daily chart, which is our higher time frame of GBPUSD, we have a completed leading diagonal, which tells us this is wave 1 of a larger move. Dropping down to our lower time frame, the 4-hour, we saw a first bearish 5-wave impulse after the leading diagonal. That's wave 1 in orange. This was followed by a 3-wave corrective wave 2. We are now expecting wave 3 to the downside. Moreover, we have a confirmed short setup here. Entry level is at our confirmation mark. Invalidation at the high of wave C. If price goes above that level, wave 2 has not yet completed and the trade is no longer valid. This is one of the cleanest setups on board this week. Our higher time frame for the Australian dollar is the 12-hour chart, which shows the first 4 waves of an impulse completed. We are currently in the final wave 5 in light blue. On the 4-hour chart, the subwaves of that wave 5 are shown in orange, and we are in the final stages of the impulse. Wave 5 is forming as an ending diagonal. What that means, we expect a brief final push higher, and then we flip to looking for shorts. An ending diagonal at the end of wave 5 is a classic reversal signal. Once the diagonal completes, the trend change begins. We are not short yet, we wait for confirmation. USDCHF is one of the most textbook perfect Elliott Wave setups I've seen recently, and it's a great example of why learning this framework pays off. On the daily chart, we have a completed ABC correction to the downside. Wave A formed as a leading diagonal, wave B as a barrier triangle. Wave C was impulsive, with one rare detail. Wave 5 of C formed as a truncation. If you don't know what that is, we cover it in detail on WaveMaster. On our lower time frame, the 2-hour chart, we saw a first wave 1 in blue after our corrective final wave C on the higher time frame. This wave 1 was formed by a leading diagonal where every subwave was corrective nature. Wave 2 followed. 3-wave structure with A and C both in 5 waves. Wave C of wave 2 appears to be an ending diagonal. Crucially, wave 2 has reached a perfect rule-based target zone, the 61.80% Fibonacci retracement. That is exactly the area where most wave 2 corrections end. Also, as I said, we have a potential long setup here. Our confirmation line is at the high of wave 4, stop loss at the low of wave 2. Today is the last day we share these trade setups publicly. From tomorrow, live setups go exclusively inside WaveMaster. Gold. This is one pair I want you to pay attention to. On the daily chart, the first 3 waves of the larger impulse are complete in purple. We are now in wave 4, a correction phase. The 2-hour chart is the most cleanest chart, where we can see exactly our primary expectation. Wave 4 corrects in a WXY structure. Wave W and wave X are done. We are now forming wave Y in an ABC, which means we expect a price decline. In the ideal scenario, wave C of Y drops below the level of wave W to collect the liquidity sitting there. The alternate scenario, wave 4 is already complete, where the W currently sits. In that case, we have already seen wave 1 of the next impulse at wave X, and the current ABC is wave 2. The C wave plays out similarly, just shallower. Either way, the short-term direction is down before the next major move. The levels to watch are clear. Moreover, our short trade is still active. We took this trade on Monday, April 20th. And you can see we were already in a good profit. But after that, we saw the correction and we were close to our stop loss. But we knew this correction will most likely occur. So we traded our stop loss aggressively and took most of the risk off the market. If our wave C downwards is starting, we will trade our stop loss further to break even. That's the full outlook for the week. 5 pairs, clear structure, defined level. A quick word again on our website, WaveMaster. If you want to follow these outlooks daily and get notified when we post trade setups and actually learn the Elliott Wave framework properly, this is where you do it. Link is in the description. See you inside.